a flawed peace. The Treaty of Versailles. The First World War, a conflict of unprecedented devastation, finally came to an end in 1919. The victors, eager to punish Germany for its role in the war, imposed the Treaty of Versailles. This treaty, meant to ensure lasting peace, instead sowed the seeds of future conflict. Germany, forced to accept blame for the war, faced crippling reparations payments and territorial losses. The once proud nation was humiliated and economically crippled. The treaty's harsh terms bred resentment and instability within Germany. Many Germans felt betrayed by their leaders and yearned for a return to their former glory. The economic hardship caused by reparations further fueled this discontent. The stage was set for a charismatic leader to exploit this anger and desire for revenge. The treaty also had far-reaching consequences beyond Germany. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires, once major powers, were dismantled. New nations emerged from the ashes of war, but their borders often ignored ethnic and cultural realities, creating new tensions and rivalries. The League of Nations, created to prevent future wars, proved weak and ineffective. The Treaty of Versailles, intended to create a lasting peace, instead left a legacy of bitterness and instability that would have devastating consequences. Despair and division. The Great Depression's grip on Europe. The 1920s saw a brief period of economic recovery in Europe. However, this fragile prosperity was shattered by the Wall Street crash of 1929. The resulting economic depression had catastrophic effects worldwide. Europe, still recovering from the First World War, was hit particularly hard. Unemployment soared, businesses collapsed, and millions were plunged into poverty. This economic turmoil had profound social and political consequences. Governments struggled to cope with the crisis, leading to widespread disillusionment with democracy. Extremist movements, both on the left and the right, gained traction by exploiting people's fears and offering simplistic solutions to complex problems. In Germany, the Great Depression had a particularly devastating impact. The fragile Weimar Republic, already burdened by reparations payments, was ill-equipped to handle the crisis. The economic collapse further radicalized German society, creating an environment ripe for the rise of extremist ideologies. The seduction of hate. Hitler's rise to power. Amidst the chaos of the Great Depression, a charismatic demagogue emerged in Germany. Adolf Hitler. A veteran of the First World War, Hitler deeply resented Germany's defeat and the Treaty of Versailles. He joined the National Socialist German Workers' Party, better known as the Nazi Party, a fringe group that shared his nationalist and anti-Semitic views. Hitler proved to be a gifted orator, captivating audiences with his fiery rhetoric. He skillfully exploited the economic anxiety, national humiliation, and social unrest gripping Germany. He offered scapegoats for the nation's woes, blaming Jews, communists, and liberals for Germany's decline. He promised to restore Germany to its former glory, appealing to nationalist sentiments. The Nazi Party, once a marginal group, rapidly gained popularity. They exploited the democratic process, winning seats in the Reichstag, the German parliament. Through a combination of intimidation, propaganda, and political maneuvering, Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in 1933. He quickly consolidated his power, dismantling democratic institutions and establishing a totalitarian dictatorship. A continent ignites. The invasion of Poland. With Hitler's grip on Germany firmly established, he turned his attention towards expanding German territory and influence. He believed in the concept of Lebensraum, or living space, arguing that Germany needed to expand eastward to secure its future. He remilitarized the Rhineland, defying the Treaty of Versailles, and annexed Austria in 1938. Emboldened by the lack of significant opposition from other European powers, Hitler set his sights on Poland. On September 1, 1939, German forces invaded Poland, marking the beginning of the Second World War. The invasion was swift and brutal, employing the Blitzkrieg, or lightning war tactic. Great Britain and France, bound by treaties to defend Poland, declared war on Germany on September 3rd. The Soviet Union, having signed a non-aggression pact with Germany, also invaded Poland from the east, partitioning the country between them. The world watched in horror as Europe descended once more into the abyss of war. The early years of the war saw a series of stunning German victories. Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium and France all fell to the Wehrmacht, the German armed forces. The Battle of France in 1940 demonstrated the devastating effectiveness of the Blitzkrieg. Paris was occupied and France was forced to sign an armistice. However, Great Britain, under the resolute leadership of Winston Churchill, refused to surrender. The Battle of Britain, an aerial campaign fought over the skies of England, raged throughout the summer and autumn of 1940. The Royal Air Force, though outnumbered, fought valiantly against the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, ultimately preventing a German invasion of Britain. In June 1941, Hitler broke his pact with Stalin, launching a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa, as it was known, was the largest military operation in history. The German army, initially successful, was eventually bogged down by fierce Soviet resistance, the vast distances of the Eastern Front, and the brutal Russian winter. The Battle of Stalingrad, a grueling 6-month siege, marked a turning point in the war. The German defeat at Stalingrad sapped German strength and boosted Soviet morale. While the war raged in Europe, events in the Pacific drew the United States into the conflict. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, a major U.S. naval base. The attack, which killed over 2,400 Americans, shocked the nation and galvanized public opinion in favor of war. The following day, the United States declared war on Japan, bringing the world's largest industrial power into the conflict. The United States' entry into the war had a profound impact on the course of the conflict. American industrial might, resources and manpower provided a much-needed boost to the Allied war effort. The U.S. Navy played a crucial role in the Pacific theater, while American troops fought alongside British and Commonwealth forces in North Africa and Europe. By 1944, the tide of the war had turned decisively in favor of the Allies. On June 6, 1944, known as D-Day, Allied forces launched a massive amphibious assault on the beaches of Normandy, France. This marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. Despite heavy casualties, the Allied forces secured a foothold in France and began pushing eastward towards Germany. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, the Soviet army continued its relentless advance towards Germany. The Red Army liberated Poland and eventually reached Berlin, the capital of the crumbling Third Reich. In April 1945, Soviet forces launched the Battle of Berlin, a final, brutal assault on the city. On April 30, 1945, Hitler committed suicide in his underground bunker as Soviet forces closed in. On May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered unconditionally to the Allies, marking the end of the war in Europe. The world celebrated the defeat of Nazi Germany, but the cost of victory had been immense. The Second World War was the deadliest conflict in human history, claiming the lives of an estimated 40 to 85 million people. Entire cities lay in ruins, economies were shattered, and millions were left homeless, orphaned, or displaced. The horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime, shocked the world and left an indelible stain on human history. The war also had profound geopolitical consequences. Europe was divided by the Iron Curtain, a political and ideological barrier that separated the communist East from the capitalist West. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the world's two superpowers, locked in a Cold War rivalry that would shape global politics for decades to come. Amidst the devastation, there was also a glimmer of hope. Determined to prevent another global conflict, world leaders met in San Francisco in 1945 to draft the United Nations Charter. The United Nations, founded on the principles of international cooperation, peace and security, aimed to provide a forum for dialogue and diplomacy, to resolve disputes peacefully, and to promote human rights for all. The formation of the United Nations represented a significant step towards a more peaceful and just world order. While the UN has faced challenges and criticisms throughout its history, it remains a vital institution for international cooperation. and a beacon of hope in an often turbulent world. The lessons learned from the Second World War, a conflict born of hatred, intolerance, and aggression, continue to resonate today, reminding us of the importance of dialogue, diplomacy, and the pursuit of peace.